Hello there. Guess what? The lemongrasses are looking so beautiful right now. They deserve their glow up. So today I thought it would be nice to give them their official garden tour. And as we're walking around, getting immersed in them, I will be sharing with you their beauty attributes and also showing you how they have been solving challenges in my garden here. All right, we will start here first and go through this narrow pathway. Now this pathway was not planned. It was put in after because I thought I could come here and enjoy the plants up close. So you can see how the lemongrasses have filled out really nicely. Now you will have to be careful as you're going through a lemongrass alley like this or pathway because they do have sharp edges. Let's go through this together. I'm okay because I have a dress on. So it is just so nice to have the lemongrasses on either side, and that is something that you can do as well. But you want to make your pathway wider just to be on the safe side. You can see that some of the leaves have turned fall-like color, reddish, orange, yellow, and that is to be expected. And the reason is because you're going to get fall interest with lemongrass. So they're going to look really nice if the frost is not going to get to them first. Another aesthetic attribute about lemongrass is that they have a whimsical nature, especially with a breeze. You can see it right now, just a little bit of breeze and some light wind. They just look so good as the leaves are dancing in the breeze. Isn't that so cool? As we're looking at this section here, you can see that they offer such nice structure. So that's the other aesthetic attribute about lemongrass, is that they offer such beautiful structural interest. And look at that. Look at the leaves dancing. Just a little bit here. I know that they would be dancing more if they were not full of raindrops. I think I'm gonna go get my hat, but I'm going through them again. It's getting hot. One of the challenges that we face is deer pressure, and deer do not like lemongrass. So they have been used to camouflage that sugar tip rose of Sharon from being eaten. One year it was eaten down pretty hard, but it was in a different location and it was a lot smaller. So decided to move it here and thought it would be a great idea to plant lemongrass around it, and the deer has not noticed it. And also to kind of prevent pests, other pests from seeing this plant, and so far it's been doing so good. I don't see a lot of press, or I don't see a lot of pest issues that I could tell. There is some, of course, and you can see that the deer have not been here. So that is one of the reasons why I love growing lemongrass. So it can be used to deter deer from coming close. right, so now we come to another group of lemongrasses, and these have been put here for structural interest and also to help with weed pressure. It doesn't help too much because they are higher off the ground, but they do help some because trust me, if the lemongrasses were not here or any plant at all, there would be a lot more weeds to pull. Nice structural interest, and you can see there's another one right there, and these two have been used to announce the entryway as we're going up to a different garden bed. So that's something that you can do too with your lemongrasses. Let's look at from the bottom there. Here's a small lemongrass. So this is a good example of having it there as a filler plant. So lemongrasses are used here a lot to fill up spaces that are still empty, not knowing what to put in there yet, or just waiting for existing plants to get bigger. So this is a good example of using it as a filler plant. So I could figure what to plant here. In the meantime, it is doing a good job in giving this area structure as well and ground coverage. Now we are at the top of the hillside garden, and you can see the lemongrasses have been planted in a circular way, giving that area very nice interest. Again, this is a good example of using lemongrass as a filler plant until I can figure out what to plant here in the future. So by having them planted together like this, they help with reducing weed pressure and also allows this area to dry out less because this area gets so much sun, and I wanted to protect this plum tree right here that was planted in the spring of this year, and it is doing beautifully. So this area gets very hot. It's one of the hottest spots in the garden. And as mentioned, by planting all of them together like this in a group, they help to prevent the soil from drying out too fast. Look at how beautiful this area is. Here's an area where the lemongrasses have been put here as filler plants until we know what to do with that area. This is a new area to work on because all the azaleas were removed from here. And if we come to this section, this is put here to act as a nice border, and earlier in the season, garlic was planted here. And now we're gonna come to a nice hedge of lemongrasses. Here's a view from the porch. The lemongrasses have been planted here for structural interest. And in this area, they will continue to be planted here for that reason. I like the fact that they die off or die back in the winter. Next we come to these two lemongrasses, and I love them here. It's one of my favorite ways to use lemongrass, and that is using them as a screen. The goal was so that you couldn't tell much what's going on behind the lemongrasses. I love how they screen the area behind them really nicely. If we come to this side, you can see there's a bare spot right there. I do have one container lemongrass that's in a small pot. I can put in there. It's a little late to plant lemongrass, but we'll give it a try and see. And once it gets some height, it's going to make this whole area look so much better. Same thing with that lemongrass. It's supposed to be used as a screen, but as you can see, it's small. So that brings me to the next point, and that is when you do plant lemongrasses in containers, they don't get to that mature size that you're looking for. And it is in a smaller container too. So I could put it in a bigger container so it will get as big as your container because their root system is very fibrous. So I'm pretty sure the roots have filled that container already. Just imagine if it were to be bigger, more spread out, it would screen the area in the back a lot better. Here's another example of these two beautiful lemongrasses being used as a screen, and they have done a nice job. You cannot tell all that is going on behind the lemongrasses. You can still tell a little bit, but not fully, and that was the goal of this lemongrass, or the two lemongrasses here. Here's another good example of the lemongrass being used as a screen. And this lemongrass is also in a container. What's nice about this lemongrass is that it has been put here to help provide shade to some of the vulnerable plants just beneath its canopy. So we have fern, heuchera, and the hosta. And as a screen, if we come here, you can see that it does screen what's behind it. You can still tell a little bit, but you can't fully tell, and that's the look that I was going for. The other thing I want to let you know is that the container lemongrasses do not look as healthy. Of course, they look like they could use iron or other nutrients because they are on the yellow side compared to the ones that are in the ground. You can see that the ones in the ground are greener. Almost back to our original spot. Here you see a group of lemongrasses that have been put here to act as a screen because this garden bed has not been fully developed yet. I wanted to screen what's behind these lemongrasses, and they have done a pretty good job. because without the lemongrasses, you would definitely see a lot more bare spots. So let me show you. On this side, you can see there are plenty of empty spots. Now I know what some of you are thinking, why did I not put lemongrasses, you know, in these empty spaces? Well, I only had so many lemongrasses to plant. In fact, I have 79 total. That's almost double from last year. So, definitely lots more empty spaces than plants right now, especially in this bed. It's a brand new bed. Now, these lemongrasses have been planted here to be harmonious with the other lemongrasses. So when you're here, you can see that they are at the border of this walkway. So that was the look I was going for too, in addition to act as a screen if I were to be looking from this angle. If we were to be from this perspective, you can see that all the lemongrasses are nicely coming together. Believe it or not, this elderberry was really small last year, but having the lemongrass here really helped in providing some relief for it. It was not a complete shade, but it did help the little plant that it was from getting beaten up by the heat, getting crispy and all that. There was some crispiness, but I really feel that the lemongrass was really helping it. And let me show you something also. So the elderberry was eaten by some deer. I would say maybe close to a month ago, and I did not notice it until coming to this part of the garden. And you can see that where the leaves were, they were outside of where the lemon grasses are. So they were more, or the leaves here were more susceptible to being seen and eaten by the deer. You could see that the lemongrasses here have not only provide aesthetic interest, but they have also solved certain challenges that I have in my garden here. So what if you don't like lemongrass, or you can't even grow it where you are? Then I would say choose a plant, one or two or even three, that you can mass produce very easily, meaning that they are essentially free plants for you. See if you could use them as filler plants, as structural plants, as screening plants, and all that good stuff. And I bet that there are some plants that you could use until you can find better plants for that location if you so choose. Like I know in my garden here, they serve as filler plants for a good bit because the garden here is still young. I shouldn't say young, meaning that I have more empty spaces than ground coverage. And one thing that I forgot to mention is that when the lemongrass leaves died off during the winter, they don't get wasted at all. They get used as mulch for the spring. So that's what I love about having these lemongrasses as well. And this year, I made sure to plant more than I did last year so I could have lots of them, lots of leaves to use for mulch in the spring. And of course, did not even imagine that I would have the berm garden to work on as well, and a few other empty beds right now with mainly lemongrasses to fill up those spaces. with that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. And until the next video, take care and bye for now.